Welcome back. My name is Tanya Whitfield, and in this video, we're going to talk about what really matters most in your homeschool, the core skills and character traits your student needs to thrive in today's world. So this video is the second video of a 5-part series, so if you haven't watched video 1, an introduction, please be sure to do that before continuing. If you're like most homeschooling parents, you want more for your child than checked boxes and completed worksheets. You want your child to truly be prepared, and not just for a test, but for real life. We're at a pivotal moment in education. In this post-AI world, knowledge is quite literally at our fingertips. It's easy to believe that students no longer need to memorize information. They can quite literally just look it up, but that's not necessarily true, and here's why. First, students still need a working knowledge base to practice the core skills we're going to talk about today. Second, we don't want to become overly reliant on technology. Third, memorization is a valuable brain exercise. And finally, testing is a critical thinking skill. With that being said, these activities should not be the primary focus of your students' education. What students know is no longer the key to success. It's what they can do with what they know and who they're becoming in the process. That's why before we talk about curriculum models or teaching methods, we're starting with the end in mind. What kind of person are you hoping to raise? What skills are going to help your child lead, serve, and flourish in the years ahead? In this video, you'll learn what skills matter more than ever, the character traits that shape future success, how homeschooling gives you a unique advantage, and practical ways to start building these skills today. According to a publication by the U.S. Department of Labor, soft skills are what will give your student the competitive edge in the 21st century workplace and are even more important than the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. That sounds like an exaggeration, but why are they able to make this claim? It's because computers can now perform hard skills better than we can, but machines cannot replicate soft skills, so let's take a look at the difference between the two. Hard skills are applicable to specific roles or jobs. They can be easily taught, they can be easily assessed and measured. Soft skills, on the other hand, are essentially people skills. They are character traits, behaviors, and social attitudes. Schools are built to teach hard skills, and even with the new technology and the information that we have available about what's needed for success in our students' future, schools are a huge engine. They can lag up to a decade behind educational trends because it takes so long for them to shift gears. They have to develop new curriculum and allocate resources. They have to undertake massive teacher training. They cannot shift gears to easily focus on these skills, and even if they could, they're still in a hard place. Teaching soft skills requires time, conversation, community, and mentorship, which means homeschooling puts your students at a tremendous advantage. As homeschooling parents, we can shift immediately, and we can be very intentional in nurturing these important key skills and shaping our students' character so that they can be uniquely prepared to answer their calling. So let's look at some of these key soft skills, and then in the videos to come, you'll learn how they can be easily taught using our blended educational philosophy. Effective communication is key to success in every facet of life. Unfortunately, many become fearful at the mere mention of building communication skills, like this guy. But communication skills go way beyond just public speaking. It's learning to express ideas clearly and with confidence. Communication involves active listening, interpersonal communication, and nonverbal communication such as body language and the written word. Enhancing these skills will enable your student to convey their ideas effectively and have a positive effect on those in their sphere of influence. And that's our goal as Christian parents. We can possess all of the information in the world, but without the ability to communicate it effectively, that information is useless. And as Christians, we are called to spread the good news, and we do that through effective communication. So our curriculum places an emphasis on developing communication skills. And believe it or not, these really aren't that hard to teach, and you don't really need a big audience. We'll talk more about that in the videos to come. The next skill is emotional intelligence. This is the ability to manage emotions in oneself and in others. It requires empathy and self-awareness, as well as the ability to handle relationships with tact and respect. We can easily teach this skill through discussions, which we'll get to in the next few videos, But students can also learn this skill through participation in community or working with the team on any kind of goal or project. Next is adaptability, and it is crucial. Unfortunately, this is something we are seeing more and more students struggle with. It's the ability to respond positively to changing circumstances and learning new skills. Those who can adapt quickly are highly successful in a myriad of situations. So what can we do? Well, one thing we can do is choose a curriculum that requires our students to adapt rather than teaching the same process over and over again, never varying the format. The subject I've noticed this most with is math. So many curricula that I've had experience with ask students the same question in the same format over and over again. The student learns how to answer the question because they've been asked that question the same way each time. But then give that student a different curriculum, or even ask them to take a standardized test in which the question is asked differently, and then it proves that they have never really been taught how to think about what they're answering. They've just learned how to repeat a pattern. Our curricula changes things up so your children learn how to adapt gradually, and then they don't become overly frustrated when faced with new challenges. Problem-solving skills. This is taught through teaching critical thinking skills, as problem-solving is the specific application of critical thinking to identify and resolve a particular issue or challenge. This seems really hard to teach, but we've really just overcomplicated it in the past. It's really quite simple given the proper mindset. We'll talk a lot about critical thinking in the videos to come. Teamwork and collaboration. Your students should be in community with others in some form so that they have the opportunity to work on team projects and learn how to get along in the classroom environment. Time management and organization. We need to initially manage our students' time, but when our students are 7th grade and above, we don't need to monitor their every minute. And homeschooling is perfect for this. We need a launch day and then 1 or 2 follow-up days to check progress. The goal is to give them a leash that is short enough to keep them from failing, but long enough to allow them to practice time management. But within this framework, we need to recognize that some tasks are just above their ability to complete independently, and we need to identify those so that we can be sure to be there to help with those tasks. We don't want our students to hit the point of failure. They will become very frustrated. We also want to be there in certain areas to guide them to higher achievement, but we want to give them autonomy over things that they are capable of achieving independently. All students are different, and this is going to require knowing your child. Creativity. When students practice being creative, they practice thinking outside the box and generating new ideas. This is such an important skill. So often, many of us don't value practicing creativity as our students grow older because we don't believe it is a skill that's going to successfully pay the bills in adulthood, but we need to rethink this and continue including these activities well into adulthood. Enthusiasm and attitude. Okay, can you believe enthusiasm and attitude made the list? These traits represent a person's mindset and disposition about work. You might think these traits are impossible to teach, but it's really quite simple. A parent teaches this by actively demonstrating excitement about life, showing genuine interest in their child's activities, celebrating small achievements, providing opportunities for exploration and discovery, modeling positive self-talk, and actively engaging with their child in a joyful manner. But this can only occur with the right tools, and if you aren't stressed chasing the wrong goals. We'll talk more about this in the videos to come. Networking and leadership. These last two are direct byproducts of all of the previous skills we've discussed. Networking primarily relies on all of the interpersonal abilities that we've been talking about, like communication, active listening, relationship building, and social cues to effectively connect with others. Again, it's easy to think this can't be taught, but a parent can actually teach networking by modeling positive behaviors, encouraging their child to actively listen, ask thoughtful questions, follow up with connections, and practice introducing themselves confidently, all in various social situations. So if you don't know what this looks like, this is the perfect visual. Moms, do you ever feel like this? I often did. My kids went everywhere with me. I was constantly modeling and instructing them. Open the door like a gentleman, say hello, say excuse me, don't talk so loud, are you listening? It quickly becomes second nature, and we often sell ourselves short, but we're doing critical work. Finally, leadership skills. Effective leaders have strong communication, decision-making, and problem-solving skills. They are able to collaborate well and foster trust, which is an emotional intelligence skill, so this skill is a direct result of practicing all of the above. Leadership is often misunderstood. It's not always the louder, more vocal person leading the charge. It's often the quiet, reflective student who has a firm grasp of all of the skills we've discussed today and leads through modeling correct behavior and serving others with humility and purpose. So whether you have a loud, vocal student or a quiet, reflective one, as a homeschooling parent, you are uniquely positioned to train your student in all of these skills that are so important for today. You don't have to teach each one of these skills one by one. With the right model, they develop naturally over time through everyday learning. But it's important that we learn to do school differently. We need to keep a watch over our mindset. We don't want to copy public school methods at home. We want more than that for our family. And that's why we blend educational philosophies. Instead of mimicking a one-size-fits-all classroom model, we combine the best of classical education, Charlotte Mason, and our own ideas about unique design with the practical homeschool wisdom we've refined over the years. We emphasize living books, real conversations, personal exploration, and collaborative learning, all while keeping soft skills front and center. So in the next video, we'll show you how we incorporate 5 key tenets of classical education to support these skills and provide a strong academic foundation. Stay tuned. Reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you.